Hi guys, it's Mimberly. Welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry I'm probably not looking the prettiest today. I have no makeup on and I woke up about an hour ago. So yeah, it's been quite a morning, but I just wanted to come in kind of with an update and just explain. First off, apologize for the fact that not every day's been a double upload day since August started, and also kind of explain what's been going on behind the scenes, which has kind of led to it. So if you guys do want to stick around, please feel free to do so. If you want to just put me on in the background, you know, you're welcome to do so. But essentially the situation is there are 4 different factors that are playing into account right now, and I'm just going to be fully transparent with you. None of it is really YouTube related except for one thing, but I'll get into that in a minute. So let's just start right with the elephant in the room, Love and Deepspace. The Valko drama has been getting to me, and it's now getting to a point where I feel like it's ruining the game for me. Now, when I say for me, I mean it is ruining the game generally, but I mean as in my personal emotions towards it. You know, I'm a Silas and Raphael main at the moment, and Valko was ready to either A, become the new main, aka take over Silas, or he was going to kind of be alongside Silas, which was more likely going to be the case. You know, Valko is basically everything I love in a man. You know, he was coming across as very playful, flirty, affectionate, kind of a bit like a goofball, you know, muscles, you know, he was basically the ideal love interest for me. Now, I'd always said that I knew a 6th love interest was coming, and that was gut instinct, but it was also little things like, for example, the UI always looked like it intended to have 6 love interests on it. It made sense for the story, and also the fact that Infold, like the game that they're running, they said that they were going to keep Love and Deepspace running for at least another 5 to 10 years. And I was thinking, okay, in the nicest way possible, if you continue just having 5 love interests, how long are you going to be able to, are you actually going to be able to commit to that promise? So bringing in another love interest made sense. I half expected it to be in 5.0, but it didn't. It was supposed to be 6.0. Then the antis, which I'm now going to call them, because apparently the CNG is now considered a slur from what I've been seeing online, because people have been reporting it, which was cow dung girls. The antis have just kicked up a fuss and got Infold to basically cancel it, despite them initially defending Valko. I'm still convinced that Paper Games are doing what they need to do in the background to be in a safe position to be able to release Valko again. Unfortunately, I think Paper Games are just in a really shit position because, sure, I don't agree with the way that they're addressing things, but at the same time, if you have the government involved, and we got to remember, you know, the China works completely different than we do on the European side. So I'm not the best person to speak about this, but they do run their way completely differently, so maybe sometimes silence is the best policy until they're in a position where they can reintroduce Valko, or they come out and say, look, we hear you, but due to the circumstances, we will not be releasing Valko. Now, I do personally think they wouldn't do that, because I think that would sign a very big death warrant for the game at the moment, or at least on the European side, or like the international side. Maybe not so much in China, but I know that there are quite a few sides of China that are still also fighting for Valko alongside us, so thank you girlies, much appreciated. But I am finding it is now, it's getting to a point where every time we get a new trailer, it kind of feels a bit like a slap in the face. Like, I was looking forward to Raphael's new myth, and watching the trailer, I watched it back again after I posted my initial reaction. There was a few things that I picked up which I didn't in my original video, but I think the reason I didn't initially pick those up is because usually I have to watch things a couple of times to be able to pick up little things, but also the fact that it was more so I think it was fatigue, and not just fatigue from the schedule in general, but I think it's also the fact that every time a new piece of content comes out as a Love and Deepspace content creator right now, I feel obligated to make content on it, but I'm also worried about the reactions these videos are gonna get. I've been watching other content creators, kind of seeing what they're doing, because I'm trying to get like a general gist of how the community overall feels, because obviously I have you guys, but you're not the entire community. So I was thinking, okay, are we kind of more positive on my side because I don't you know, to the negativity too much. So for example, I'll look at like Gotcha Goblins community or Angels Corners community, and sometimes the comment section is like 180 degrees different than what it is over here, because you guys are relatively well behaved and relatively positive, which is what I like to see. But that's not a full representation of the community. And there was 2 comments in particular that kind of got me thinking about this. I'm just going to load them up now. I should have probably done that beforehand. Let's see what... Okay, here we go. First one. So this is from Diamonds of 6. So this was on my Raphael trailer reaction video for context. IMO, content creators covering new content in the game is helping the boycott, because like this, we can check out the vids and chat in the comments about it. This way, we get to see the new stuff without having to breach our own boycotts. Yes, we want to put pressure on paper games. Yes, many people have turned away from the game now that the illusion has been broken down. But there's still lots of us here because we still love the game. We're boycotting because we love the game. We want to experience the story they made for us. If anything, content creators should get full props for being so vocal on their stance and on the boycott, informing and being up to date on everything. Can't thank you enough for your hard work. That is such a good perspective, and I really honestly wish more people saw it that way. But it's just really hard. Like, I don't know how to, I don't really know how to kind of explain it, really. I'm actually just going to load up the comments on, I'm going to find the other comment that I wanted to read out, so just bear with me a second. Okay, I got it. Now, bear with me. This is quite a bit of a long one, and this took me a bit by surprise when I read this morning. But, yeah. Let's have a little look. So, this is from Romy Chan K. Heartless. So, I think it's very sad that you feel the need to suppress your excitement because of the boycott. Honestly, I can't help but feel that part of it might be because of how you think it could look to the people supporting the boycott. You don't want to disappoint them or give them the impression that you're on the wrong side. I can understand why you might feel that pressure as a content creator, especially when expressing a different opinion that could potentially cost you subscribers. Now, let's have a talk about that real quick, just before we get into the next kind of part of it. The truth is, I don't know how to feel. And that's the hard thing, because like a part of me wants to be excited. Like, you know, we knew the Raphael myth was going to be coming up. We kind of suspected it was going to drop before the whole Valco thing. So, like, obviously, you know, this is running until the end of August, so I think it's from the 17th to the 31st, if I remember the dates correctly, which means it'll be dropping tomorrow. But then we've also got Zane's birthday after, so if we do hear anything about Valco, it'll either be during Zane's birthday, which I highly doubt they'll do, or it'll be sometime after. But after Zane's birthday, we don't really have a clue as to what info they're planning now. Let's not forget we also have a promise coming up soon, which 9 times out of 10 I imagine would have been a Valco one. Maybe alongside Silas. I think Silas hasn't had one in a while. I think the last one we had from him actually was Shared Bliss. Could be wrong. I'm not the best on remembering which cards came out when. But it's very hard to know how to feel because I don't know kind of how I feel about situations. Because like I understand that Info need to continue to run the game as normal for the foreseeable. Because, you know, they got their own shit going on. They've probably, like, raised lawsuits in the background, or they're trying to basically cover themselves. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to claim to know what's going on in the background or say I have a clue, because I genuinely don't, and I'm just going to be honest about that. I want to support the boycott, because I am really proud of what we've done as a community because of the boycott. However, as a comment very correctly said, as a content creator, it's very hard. Like, if I say a controversial opinion, and then you all go, nah, that's a bad take, I'll be like, okay, cool, that's your opinion, whatever. I'm not going to hide my opinion. It's more so the fact that it's, unfortunately, people misread motives. Now, there are some people out there who used to think I get paid by Infold to make the content. I can tell you for a fact I fucking don't. I don't have any sponsorships, even though I've been offered them, but they're all AI chat based, and because I don't personally agree with AI, I point blank refuse to interact with it, at least to the best of my knowledge, because, you know, it can be hard to identify it sometimes. It's kind of a situation where I want to be able to support the boycott, and it is really hard because we've watched some videos about it in the past. You know, we've watched Love and Chickspace is one content creator I definitely would recommend, with Nikki and Mama Void, because they go into like the crisis PR and what's going on behind the background. But that's the thing, we're not just boycotting because of Valko. We're boycotting because it's the fact that the story that they originally wrote is going to have to be changed if Valko's not in there. It's the fact that I mentioned earlier in one of my previous videos that when it came to content complaints with regards to Caleb and Silas, I said, well, they haven't been out in the game as long. I failed to recognize that by us saying a lack of content, we were referring to basic content, so like antidotes, bonds, etc. That is my bad, and I put my hands up and say that. I did not realize that that particular part was what we were referring to. I was just referring to content as a whole, but as a content creator who has covered all of the Silas cards, I'd like to think there's more Silas content on my channel than anything else, but of course, because I main him. But anyway, I digress. So the next paragraph, it's true that on the surface, the boycott seems like a very good cause. But if you look deeper into it, which I don't think you have, I have to a degree, but I'll get into that in a minute, you might understand why so many people have gradually lost sympathy for the movement. I'm not saying people should stop boycotting or that everyone participating is wrong. But when a movement starts to feel like a dictatorship, where people who think differently are immediately judged or condemned, and you become afraid to express a different opinion, I think that's a problem. Yeah, no, you're completely correct. I mean, it's more so, again, motive. Because, like, for me, the problem I have with Love and Deepspace, personally, is the schedule is not very fair for free-to-play players. I am not afraid to admit that up until Valka was cancelled, I was buying the Aurum Pass every month, I was buying the upgraded Promise every time it came out, and I was normally dropping quite a bit of money on the banners, especially if it was like a multi or a myth. I'm not afraid to admit that. Now, do I regret spending that money? No. Because at the time, I was supporting a game that I really enjoyed and I cared about. And it was kind of more so for me, I could technically get some of the revenue back through the YouTube partner program, even though they do not pay me as much as I should be for how much I post. But that's a story for another day. I have looked kind of into some of what the boycott is doing, and I will admit it's hard to know what to do sometimes because the hashtags keep changing, the dates keep changing, and that's one of the reasons why I always said that having a date to kind of look to with regards to when Valka was coming back was always a bad idea. I personally never stuck to a date. I just said, look, if Valka can come back, he'll come back. But I'm still figuring out what my boundary is with this game as well. Like, initially my thought process was, okay, well, if Valko's not in the game by the end of 2026, where do I go from there? The problem is, it's emotional investment, isn't it? Like, it's only you can decide your own boundary with Love and Deepspace. Like, if it's a case where, for example, you've uninstalled the game but you continue to experience the story through the content creators, that's fine, that's why we're here. But there are some content creators like myself who can't afford to whale every single banner. Certainly myself, which kind of leads on to point 2, but I'll talk about that in a minute. I can't afford to run every single banner, so I can play the events for it, sure, but I can't play the cards. And I've only been able to do that up till now because I was very lucky enough to have access to another account that my friend was not using. And now they're not playing the game. They're not pulling for any of the new cards. So I'm kind of in a bit of a funk because I don't know what to do with myself, which is one of the reasons why I decided to start releasing the Tears of Themis series, the other series I'm going to be releasing shortly, and also starting up Withering Waves again. Like, I wanted to give that another go. It's hard. I hope that little by little you can feel more comfortable about being honest about your own feelings instead of worrying so much about what others might think. Both things can coexist. You can be excited about the trailer and still support the boycott. The trailer and Infod's irresponsibility are two separate things and they can be judged separately. At least that was my interpretation of your reaction. It felt like you approached it already expecting to be unhappy about it. If that's not what happened and you genuinely didn't hold back any of your feelings, then I apologise for the misunderstanding. Well, thank you for being so polite about it. I just felt like it was important to say this because I think people should be free to express their opinions without being judged, regardless of whether they're a part of the boycott or not. That is the sort of comment I like to say. I like seeing comments where you are respectful, but you're also giving me your thoughts. And this is kind of what my overall thoughts are with regards to the trailer. I kind of was going into it being unhappy anyway, because it kind of felt a bit like a slap in the face. We were getting a new myth with the Valko situation not being addressed. That was number one. It was also the fact that my birthday wasn't long ago, and for those of you who saw my video where I did the birthday event with the boys, I broke down because Valko wasn't there. Because that's what I was looking forward to. One of the things I was looking forward to the most when we got the announcement date was him being there to celebrate my birthday, but of course that didn't happen. Obviously, my one of our community members in the Discord, Taja, was really kind enough to commission Xander to do a custom voice note for me for my birthday. I posted that video yesterday, which is actually done quite well, all things considered, and again, I may have to commission Xander again in the background. But I was kind of already going into it unhappy because it was like, you're releasing a myth and you still haven't addressed the Infold situation, or like the Valko situation. Infold, like, what are you doing? But it was also, I kind of saw the thumbnail of it, clocked it was going to be some sort of like war god or something like that. I just didn't feel like it matched Raphael. Like, that sort of banner I'd expect it more to be for like someone like Caleb or Silas, not Raffi. So I think that's also partially because the Lemurian Sea God myth, in my opinion, just put the standards like right up here for me, because I still argue that was his best myth out of all of them. And honestly, the last set of myths, so being Archfiend, Neverlord, I would honestly say those ones were my favourite batch out of all of the ones we've had so far. The only exception I make is Silas, because I still feel like Dragon Silas did match Archfiend, so that's just my own personal opinion. It just didn't feel like the aesthetic fit, and I know I'm not the only person in the community who felt like that. I could potentially play it and my opinion might completely change. They might justify it somehow through it, but it's just really hard, because I just want the game to go back to how it was. Like, you know, I miss waking up in the morning and seeing that Love and Deepspace posted on Twitter, and me not have my heart racing because I'm thinking, is it Valko news? Or being like, oh, it's just another thing about the discounted packs, or it's the fan art competitions. And every time I go in the comments, everyone's just saying about Valko, and it's great to see that people are still keeping up pressure. It's just mentally exhausting to keep up with. And let's not forget with the hashtags of the boycott has changed so many times that now I don't even know which ones to use. It's really tricky to keep up with everything, plus other fandoms that I'm a part of as well. It's just I think that's why I was more kind of down about the situation more than anything, because I was frustrated more so at the situation rather than, you know, the other players and Infold. But yeah. But where I stand with lads right now, I'm still figuring out what my boundaries are. I'm just seeing how it goes at the moment. Kind of leading into part 2 of the reason why my uploads have been slow have been, very honestly, I'm going to just open up about something very personal now. I have been really struggling with my mental health these last couple of months, and about June time, I realised I really needed help. Because my husband is very rarely home because of his work hours, and that eventually led to me having a full breakdown, and I decided that enough was enough and I needed help. So I reached out to the NHS talking therapies and my GP just to discuss options. I'm going to be starting talking therapy soon to kind of try and get everything, you know, on the table, try to figure out what my next move is. But I've recently gone on antidepressants about 4 days ago, and these have hit me like a truck. Yesterday, for example, I did not get out of bed outside to go to the bathroom and get a drink because I just couldn't bring myself to face the day. And, you know, Cade was on late that day, so he came home around 11 p.m. at night, saw that I was still in bed. My face was tear stained, apparently, according to him, because I woke up to him rubbing something on my face, which was him wiping the tears away. And you know, I've not been taking care of myself, which is not good. So I just decided to take a couple of days off and just relax. But because of that, I ran out of footage to edit and render and upload. So I'm going to be slowing down with regards to recording. and just take the time for myself, because I know you guys do worry about my mental health a lot, and I do appreciate you really being concerned about that. There are also a couple of other things going on in the background, like at the moment me and my mod Chris are in the middle of making a brand new Discord server, because the one that we've got right now, even though it does the job, it's not doing the job that we were hoping it to accomplish. So, and we've also encountered a couple of problems that can be very easily avoided, but it would take more time to dismantle the current server than just make a new one. So we're currently working on that right now, and we're hoping to get that all up and running by the 1st of September. But of course I'll make a video talking about that close to the time, but it is something that me and Chris are working on a lot right now. And you know, we are trying to make this basically as good for people as possible, so we're hoping that will be available very shortly. Part 3 is just outside of work life, and like, I know that sounds really bad, but my job is really pushing me to limits when it comes to staffing. You know, we've only got 3 full-timers on my team. One full-timer's just come back from a week sick, the other one's just gone on holiday, and I'm the only one who seems to be relatively consistent, so it does feel like a lot of everything does just come back to me unnecessarily. And I am working myself to the bone, to the point I've actually gone into work a couple of times to start work early just to get ahead for the day, so I have capacity to do everything. And disclaimer, I am not being paid extra for that, because my job don't pay overtime. So that's certainly playing on my mind. And also the fact that my job is very predominantly dealing with elderly people. And no offense to elderly people, because some of them can be the absolute biggest sweethearts in the world, but a lot of them, especially where I live, are very rude. They talk down on me, and you know, I've been told everything on the phone. I've been told that I should go off myself. I've been told that you know, that I'm a failure, that I'm just, you know, working in insurance. I've been told that I should go back to the kitchen and make a sandwich. I've been said everything under the sun. And trying to deal with that in a professional manner is not easy. Like, I had one woman literally yelling at me for over 45 minutes on the phone on Friday, to the point where I came off that call shaking and I had a panic attack and started crying in the kitchen. My job is horrible and I do want to leave it, but it's a case of when sort of thing. So me and Kate have been talking, and we've decided that sometime next year we are going to start looking at moving towards my mum and dad, to not just to get away from the area we're currently living in, but also the fact that my grandparents are not getting any younger, and they want to see us settled before they go. And at the moment we're never going to settle where we are, so we've got quite a lot going on in the background, and it's very difficult financially too, because cost of living. So, and the heat wave has certainly not been helping, because it's bumped up my electric bill by like nearly 30 quid, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, that's kind of all what's going on at the moment. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up and just apologise, and just kind of give my thoughts on the lad's situation as well, because it is one of those situations that I think everyone's got their own interpretation of how things are going right now, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what to fucking think 95% of the time. Every time I'm filling out my form to say to info that I am doing my part of the bargain, I can't say much more due to a non-disclosure agreement, but there's a form that we need to fill out, and every time one of the questions is that we've got to put the links of the videos that we were doing, and every single time I always choose the ones that have something to do with Valco, and they are still being accepted, so that is something. But I just don't know what more me and the other content creators can do. I think it is outside of, I think the only thing we can do at this point is just keep up the pressure, just keep up the momentum about Valco, don't shut up about him basically until we get an official statement, and then once we do know what's going on, then just come to our own decisions about what it is we want to do. But thank you guys for being so supportive. In the meantime, you know, there's a lot that I need to work through, and I'm trying to get a lot of this done before the end of the year, so I can go into 2027 with a fresh mind state. It's very difficult, so please just bear with me. I promise I'm working as hard as I can, but I do need to put my health first, and I hope that just doesn't impact you guys too much. But on that note, I am going to go have a nap because these pills constantly are making me tired. But thank you guys so much for listening or watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions, kind of following on from what I've said, just ping them down there and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.